What I'm showing you today is Drupal 8. I couldn't come to a camp like this and show you a solution in Drupal 7. What I have is a minimal install of Drupal 8, enabled the admin toolbar module just to help make the presentation go a little bit smoother, and enabled the two UI fields, enabled themes and stuff like that. But for the most part, I have just a minimal install of Drupal 8. I don't have a lot of modules already running or anything like that. The other thing that I've done to save a little bit of time, I've used Composer to download these 5 projects. And the rest of it is going to be a demo. There's my Drupal site, and the first thing we're going to do, we're going to enable address and Geofield modules and clear cache. We're going to come back here, we're going to create a content type. Called store. Going to add an address. Default is United States. We're only going to allow United States to be selected. And we're going to hide a bunch of the fields that we don't need. There's one more thing I wanted to do, which is default. We're in Iowa. So let's save that. Now I'm going to add another field. It's going to be a Geofield, which it allows us to put in longitude and latitude. We're not going to do any settings there. I'm going to hide the body. Make sure that gets saved. Content, add content. We'll save that. Not real exciting, right? It just has the longitude and latitude point there. Not very useful for our users yet. So we're going to enable Leaflet. Clear cache. We'll go back to our content type. We'll manage fields. Actually, manage display. Raw output. We're going to switch that to leaflet maps. So there we have a map. Kind of an issue there when I scroll up and down over the map, it zooms in and out. Probably not the result that I want right now. That point is in basically the right spot for Menards and Ames, but it still doesn't look and act quite the way I want it to. So we're going to go back and we're going to enable another module, which is Leaflet More Maps, which basically does exactly what it sounds like it does. It gives us more mapping options. We'll clear cache. We'll go back to our content type. We'll manage the display. We'll set up some size for that leaflet map. And now we have a whole bunch more options of different maps that we could select. What I'm going to select is a Google roadmap, which is the map that most of us are probably fairly familiar with. I'm going to click on this button, disable zoom using the mouse wheel, which will allow me to go up and down on the page without it zooming in or out on the map. A couple other things I'm going to do is I am going to set the initial zoom level to 16 So that's going to zoom in closer than it would by default. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set the minimum to, let's say, 12. Update and save. Now if I jump back to that page, if I scroll up and down, it's not zooming in anymore. It has the Google map that is more familiar to us than the one that Leaflet gives by default. When we zoom out, that's as far as I can zoom out because I set that minimum zoom. So there's quite a bit of flexibility and control that you have on that map. Other things that you could do is change this pin. So we could put a Drupal icon or something like that on there. Not going to do that today, but so that works fairly well. Other than I manually had to put in the longitude and latitude, which for a content editor probably isn't a real good thing. So I am going to enable the geocoder module. I also am enabling geocoder address and geocoder geofield modules because those are the two field types that we want geocoder to be able to handle and deal with. Those are both submodules of geocoder. So it was just a one download of geocoder. As always, we should clear cache. Jump back here, we'll go to our content type. This time we are going to manage displays. We're going to edit the geofield. And we're going to come down here and we're going to say we want a geocode from an existing field. It has a bunch of different options for where it can go out and get the information from. For today, I'm going to use Google Maps. At the end of the presentation, if I have time, I'll show the results from a couple other services and where the differences are. The Google Maps is a paid service, but they do give you a $200 credit. For each time you ping them and ask them for an address, it's about half a penny. So if you do the math, it's about 40,000 transactions a month. That site doesn't get near that much traffic, so we should be good with that. You do need an API key, and the one that I'm going to be using today was set up just for this presentation and will be deleted right away. I'm not going to leave a live one in the recording. It does have a link here for geocoder configuration page. I'm going to open that in a new tab. I'm going to go down to Google. Going to save that. Going to come back here. Save my settings there. I want to check.
Tell her what field to use.
Oh. Want to use the address field? It does have the API in there. I haven't really played with this much, but you can drag, if you have more than one selected, you can drag them and set the order. So I'm pretty sure what it does is goes out and checks the first one. If it doesn't get results, it'll drop down to the second one. So you could put a free one first, let it drop down and put Google as your last one or the paid one as the last one. Let's save that. We'll go back to content. Let's edit that. Let's change the address. Fingers crossed. And now the address I put in was Hickory Park in Ames. It automatically changed the coordinates and gave me the right location.
Did that update the coordinates in the geofield?
Yes. It should have anyway. Yeah, because this was minus 92, I believe, before. We'll set it back. Okay, this is a part that's going to take me just a little bit. I need a few more content pages.
1 minute later.
Okay, so there I have 5 Menards stores entered in. So being able to see an individual store with a map is nice, but we probably want to see a map of all our stores. And of course we need to add another module, which is Leaflet Views. And again, that's a submodule of Leaflet. It's not a separate download. We'll clear cache. We'll go to Structure, Views. We're going to add a view called Stores. Content type is Stores. Really don't need to worry about sorting. On a map it doesn't really matter. We're going to create a page. We're going to create it as a leaflet map. We're going to show all the pins, not use pagers. I really didn't test to see what would happen if I left those in. I think it would probably, the number of pins it would restrict, but the pager doesn't make much sense for me on a map. I'm going to click Settings, and it tells me right here that at least one geofield needs to be added to the fields. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm not going to worry about any of the settings for that. I'm going to go back to the settings here. I'm going to make sure that the geofield is selected as my data source. And for the description, I'm going to give that use a title. I'm going to change maps back to Google and disable the zoom. And now I almost forgot to hit save. Okay, so there's my map with those 5 pins on it. Pretty easy to do there. And if you click on the pin, it comes up with the title. You can get pretty creative on what that drop down would be. You could put other fields in there.
You can put images in there.
You can put images, a whole lot of stuff. So you can put a lot of information on that, in that pin. If you click on it, it goes to the right store. So that's all pretty cool. Not a lot of work, just, what, 3-4 minutes? We're going to go back to the views. We're going to edit that store. We're going to add a new page. We're going to call it proximity. Hopefully that will work. We're going to give it a path, and we're going to add a filter. And our filter is going to be proximity, because we want to be able to say, show me everything that's within so many miles of an address that we put in. So I'm going to add that field just to this page. We're going to apply that. We're going to expose the filter to the users. We're going to say search by location. If it's less than or equal to miles. What? No. Forgot to tell it to use Google to do it. Make sure that gets saved. So there's our map. We want all the stores which are 5 miles from 801 Grand. Fingers are crossed. So that shows me one store, the Des Moines location. If I change that to 10 miles, there's 4 stores. So again, pretty quick and easy to add quite a bit of functionality to your website right there. Of course, there's lots of styling and making it pretty and stuff like that, but go ahead.
Is it able to detect the browser's IP address and start to show within 20 miles of?
I believe so, yes.
There's a checkbox for that.
Yeah.
Oh, is that thing is what? I'm sorry.
There was a checkbox box for that.
I'm sure that where he chose to put in the origin would also get the geolocation from the browser side. We can try it. Because I think if we...
Yeah, actually I don't like telling or enabling that, so I'm not gonna
I don't
do
like it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that here, but I'm pretty sure that yes, that would work.
Okay, yeah, it's a feature.
Yep. What I don't know is whether you can do both, which would be really nice to have it default to one, but if they put in an address, it would do the other thing. That's beyond what I've prepared for this morning. So one last module I'm going to enable, and the use case for this is, let's say we were mapping Starbucks stores in the state of Iowa. So when you come to a map like this, it'd have the state of Iowa, and there'd be a whole bunch of pins here in Des Moines, a whole bunch of pins over in Cedar Rapids, and maybe a few pins spread out throughout the state, right? But when you get that many pins in a real small location, it kind of looks like one pin, and it's kind of hard to tell what's going on there. So I'm going to jump down and I'm going to enable one more module. At my store, I'm going to change my proximity search. I'm going to go to the Leaflet settings, and what that module did is it allowed this checkbox right here for marker clustering. I have not played with this code that it puts in there. I've just used a default. We're going to apply that. We're going to save it. Going to go back to proximity, and now it tells me how many pins are in each of those locations. If you click on it, it will expand out and zoom into that location. The last thing I'm going to show you is I said I would show you differences from one geocoding service to another. So here's another website that I have set up on my local machine. The address that I have in here right now is for Cold Stone Creamery in Ames. Mapbox has it pretty close. The actual store is right here, but that's close enough that it would get somebody to that location if they were needing to. Google Maps, surprisingly, is a little bit off. That's in the same little strip mall, but rather than being right here, it's a little bit off. But again, very usable. And then OpenStreetMaps, it's about a block off.
What was the first service?
The first one was Mapbox. Yep. I can't remember if that's a paid service or not, but if it is a paid service, you get so many for free and then can use that. Then you'd have to pay additional. And you do have to have a API key for that one. I don't remember if you needed to have an API key for OpenStreetMaps or not. I don't think you did. But I'm going to put in a couple different addresses here and just kind of show you some of the differences. If I go back and use that Hickory Park address that we were using before, Mapbox is close, but it's a little bit off. That's actually the driveway in the parking lot for Hickory Park, so that's not too bad. Google has it right on the building, and so does OpenStreetMaps. So it's pretty good, all three services. Let's go to 700 Southeast 16th Street, which is the new Menards location in Ames. And that address has not existed for very long. OpenStreetMaps has it. Again, it's about a block off or so. Google, it's right about where the driveway would be. OpenStreetMaps still has Hickory Park for that location. It doesn't know anything about that address, so it didn't return anything. It just showed whatever was there before. And got one other address I'm going to show you. And this is an address that Extension uses in the footer of a bunch of their website. And the real address or zip code is 2011 or 14.
Campus village are really one.
Well, that's what I thought. But if I put 14 in, we got time to do this. Mapbox is right on, Google is right on, and OpenStreetMap is confused. If I change that to 11, which is what we think it should be, but I'm not sure about that. Google has it right on. It's right about here. Mapbox has it quite a bit off, and if somebody was trying to find your location based on that, they wouldn't be able to. And of course, OpenStreetMaps doesn't know it at all. So that kind of demonstrates that you do get different results based on who you're using for the geocoding.
Yeah, it's probably worth paying for something.
And it's probably worth paying for it, especially like for our case where our usage is low enough that we don't hit that threshold. In the month of October, our bill was like $560 or something like that, so that was well under the $200 credit that we get. So that's my presentation. It looks like we're right up against time, but if you have quick questions, be happy to answer those, or I'll be around the rest of the camp.